Hey guys, it's John and Jackie of OpenLove101.com. And today we're going to talk about a few things in this book called The Ethical Slut. It is a fantastic book. It's been out a long time. It's by Dossie Easton and Janet Hardy. And if you're interested in an ethical, non-monogamous relationship, swinger, polyamory, open relationship, this book can really help. Would you agree?
Yeah, you definitely need to have it in your library. I mean, it's just a great read regardless. And, you know, we offer this through our Open Love 101 site as well, in our shopping section. So, you know, if you're interested, please pick it up. But today we're gonna pull a few tidbits out of the book to hopefully entice you to want to read it further.
Yes, and so there's a chapter here called Myths and Realities, and it talks about different myths that have to do with relationships. Myth number 1, long-term monogamous relationships are the only relationships. A subset of this myth is the belief that if you're really in love, you will automatically lose all interest in others. Thus, if you're having sexual or romantic feelings toward anyone but your partner, you're not really in love. This belief has cost many people a great deal of happiness through the centuries, yet it is untrue to the point of absurdity. A ring around the finger does not cause a nerve block to the genitals. That's something you had highlighted here, babe.
Is that what I highlighted? Yeah, I'm guilty of underlining and highlighting in books. Oh man, you know, one of the things, you know, I grew up under that platform, and I think there's going to be a lot of us that will be able to attest to growing up under that same platform, that that traditional monogamous marriage is the only way in which to have a relationship. And you know, it's just not true. It just isn't. Now, you know, it was interesting to me up until you and I reconnected. That was the only relationship model I knew of. You know, I wasn't aware that there was just this plethora of other relationship models out there. And so to find out that there are a ton of couples that have a bunch of different relationships that are, you know, by today's standards, successful. You know, they stay together for a long time. You know, we like to think that that has a great deal of meaning, but they're totally not traditional.
No.
And they're completely happy, and we don't want to give credence to that. It's so interesting. It's almost like we have this fear that if we knock that one relationship model that we've been taught through a societal platform, that's going to be the only way to have a relationship. And if we do something different, it's going to be the demise of society as a whole. It just isn't true.
No, and to take it one step further, our society determines and defines these relationships, the monogamous relationship, the traditional monogamous relationship. They're married, they're going to be together forever. But it's not, most of them, based on the divorce rate, most of them are not monogamous.
Yeah.
Most of them are non-monogamous relationships, but they're not consensually non-monogamous.
Right.
But I mean, they're being dishonest and cheating on each other, so they're not being monogamous.
And you know, we're not talking about the emotional stress that's brought upon people that don't feel as though they're measuring up to that societal goal. You know, I want to do this thing because I'm being told that this is what's going to be the best for me, and so I do this thing, and when it ends up not panning out like I thought it was going to, you know, it can be really destructive to someone. You know, they can feel like they're a loser, or they don't know how to have a relationship, or, you know, what's wrong with me? You know, it can be a lot of really negative implications. And when you learn that doesn't have to be that, because your relationship doesn't have to fall under a really stringent guideline, you know, to me it's like the Matrix movie. It's like, whoa, I can see, you know, I can see everything, that I can really create the relationship that I want, when really That's what we should be doing.
Well, and people do it. I'm not knocking monogamous relationships. There are many of them out there that work, whether they are being dishonest about their relationship or not. I mean, they're still together and it works in their mind.
Absolutely.
They're okay with it. So
yes, but I think what we're trying to point out is that's not the only relationship
it's not the only
model.
real relationship model. There's no
Right,
doubt about
and
it.
there's not, for you to have a different relationship model doesn't mean that your relationship is less valid.
Right. And this book, by the way, will go into, because we still have fears about that. Like, what are people going to think about me
Right.
if I'm having sex with multiple people? This book really can help you learn how to overcome those fears.
Yeah.
The next myth is romantic love is the only real love.
Well, I mean, I think all of us know, really in our heart of hearts, that that's not true. I mean, we may want to live under the guise that it is because it sounds so romantic, but all of us know in our day-to-day lives that we have relationships with people that would qualify as love. And for me, when I qualify it as love, it's, if someone needed something from me, in my life that it's important to me and I'm going to drop everything to go help them, to me, that's an element of love, that I'm there for them. And that's not just you.
No.
There's a lot of people in my life that I'm going to do that for.
Right.
And so being able to accept that those people are there and that they're not distracting from like the relationship that you and I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't have to divvy up a finite amount of love in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like it gets to be this incredible infinite amount that I get to share. As a matter of fact, I'm learning through being in a more open relationship that the more love that I emit, the more love I seem to have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great benefit to learn.
It is. Sexual desire is a destructive force. And in here it says, many people also believe that unashamed sexual desire, particularly desire for more than one person, inevitably destroys the family. Yet we suspect that far more families have been destroyed by bitter divorces over adultery than have ever been disturbed by ethical consensual non-monogamy. And I mean, it is a fact that most divorces happen because of adultery. Okay. To say that sexual desire is a destructive force, I think dishonesty is the destructive force. I don't say the sexual desire. I think we all have naturally sexual desires. And, I do, and I'm honest with Jackie about it, and it brings us closer. It's not destructive in our relationship at all.
No, I mean, again, it's about our perception of what's taking place.
Mm-hmm.
If we understand that we are, as a species, that's something that's in our nature. I mean, how would that be destructive?
Yes.
So it's about how we view what's taking place. I mean, I could see how people would think it's destructive from the standpoint of adultery.
But that's not
dishonesty.
That's not the sexual desire. That's the dishonesty of the sexual desire.
Right. We want to blame our sexual desire on those things, as opposed to seeing our sexual desire as just something innate and beautiful and who we are and accepting of who we are. I think that's the other thing. It's going to be really hard to have self-acceptance if we can't accept all of who we are.
But, and that just, I don't know if I really voiced this before, but why can't we just accept that we have sexual desires for other people, that it's natural?
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about how we're inundated with a certain relationship model for so long, and then to go counter to that, even if our logical brain accepts it, it's going to seem odd.
I mean, has it to you?
Initially, absolutely.
But you shared with me that you had sexual desires throughout all of your
I did, but I carried it under the umbrella that there must be something wrong with me. You know, I didn't get to accept that that was who I was, because from a lot of different vantage points in my life, that would have been considered something negative. So
you were trying to, because of what society was telling you, that it's wrong to be slutty, you had a hard time accepting that what you're feeling was natural.
exactly. Yeah, for sure.
But today, do you feel differently?
I do. I do, because here's the thing, you know, there is nothing better than self-love. There's nothing better than self-love. And realizing that who I am from a natural standpoint. Like, of course, I'm going to feel sexual, because that's just part of my makeup.
Right.
Trying to control that, I think, is what brings such anxiety on so many of us. And, you know, we see it throughout the generations and the centuries of women in particular, and I feel as though I can speak about that, being a woman myself, is, you know, that box that we're stuck inside of, where we really have to curtail who we are from that standpoint, because of how we're, you know, that slut word is viewed really derogatory, as opposed to you being more encouraged. Now, I think that has issues in and of itself, but you know, from my standpoint, being able to be accepting of who I am, from that standpoint, from that sexual standpoint, it's almost so freeing, I don't know how to even handle it sometimes.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what you mean by that.
Well, you know, it's like being told you have this freedom, like, okay, you can go have this freedom, but you're like, I don't even know what that looks like. I'm not even sure, like, how to let that out. You know, to have the freedom to let my freedom out, because of you know, maybe those internal arguments that are going on, like, no, you can't really do that. You know, you're going to be viewed a certain way.
Right.
And kind of shutting that conversation out, so that the more positive voices can be heard.
That makes sense.
Not that I'm hearing voices in my head.
Well, we have a few more of these we'll discuss in our next video. Hope you're getting something out of this. Be sure and check out openlove101.com for our blogs on this topic and other topics having to do with consensual non-monogamy. You can also look at other videos here on our YouTube channel. Be sure and check out Neon Dating. Neon Dating, search for that on Apple and Google Play Store. It's our new app that can hook up open-minded couples and singles in your area.
Yep.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
You want to be guaranteed 5 years of horrible sex? Then don't click on the button below.